This is a BlackMagic design ATEM advanced panel which costs thousands of dollars. It allows users to control the ATEM switchers. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can get 95% of the same functions with a StreamDeck, one of these guys, and BitFocus Companion. By the end of this video, you're going to know how to create a fully functional ATEM control surface with physical buttons using this StreamDeck for under $300. Hi, I'm Nathan from Crazy Amazing Designs. I train and equip leaders to do church tech and event production with excellence. I love this topic of video switchers, live streaming. Check out my playlist of live streaming content here on my YouTube channel. To get this project started, we're going to need a few things. We need a StreamDeck XL. This one has 32 buttons. We're going to need the BitFocus Companion software. This is free from BitFocus's website, bitfocus.io. Finally, we need a computer to run Companion, the software, and connect our StreamDeck via the included USB-C cable. If you are completely new to all of this, welcome to BitFocus Companion. This is a free application that you need to install on your computer. It runs from the web browser, so go ahead and watch my video here to learn more about installing Companion. I recommend installing Companion on only one computer on your network. Then any other computers that you want to go ahead and put one of these StreamDecks by, you're going to use the Companion satellite application. Satellite basically calls back to the main management, the main application of Companion on your network, and it says, hey, what do I do? What pages do I look at? What buttons do I give the users? This allows the remote StreamDecks to fully control Companion remotely, not physically connected to the computer that Companion's installed on. Once Companion is installed, we can create our first connections that are going to be the thing communicating with the hardware, such as our ATEM switcher. Once Companion is installed on your computer, you're going to see this icon in the top right. I'm going to click Launch GUI, and it's going to open up the browser page for me. And the first page on the left side is the Connections tab. And here you can see all of the connections that I've made to different devices from my computer. So on the right side here, I'm going to add a connection, and I'm going to add the ATEM, the BlackMagic ATEM connection. Go ahead and add that. I can give it a unique name. And now you can see it's on the bottom of my list. On the right side here, we're going to give it the target IP address, the IP address of our switcher. Your ATEM switcher must be connected to your network to make this work. Whether you have the rack-mounted Constellation switcher or the ATEM Mini or Extreme control surfaces, you need to connect the Ethernet port on the back of your switcher to your building's network so that you can access it from the computer here. You don't need internet, but you do need a network connection between the computer and the ATEM switcher. You might need to get a network switch to connect multiple devices together. On the ATEM switcher, you'll likely need to define the IP address and other settings to get it connected to the network. If you have a rack-mounted Constellation switcher, then you can use the menu button on the screen to navigate to the network settings. For an ATEM Mini series, use the BlackMagic software to connect to the switcher from the software, and it'll show you the IP address. So ultimately, you're going to find that IP address, and we're going to type it into this target IP address slot. If you'd like to learn more about device communications on the network at your church, then tap subscribe, and later you can watch my video about networking for churches. So to review, on the right, we're going to go to the Add Connection. We're going to type in ATEM. We're going to select the BlackMagic ATEM switcher. We're going to click Add. Then on the right side, we're going to add the target IP address to connect to our switcher. And you can also select the model of your switcher, or you can just allow it to auto detect. When you're done, you can click Save, and now we're good to go. I already have one of these set up, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this demo one I just made because I have one called ATEM. Here's the IP address. Here's the model that I'm connecting to. Now let's go to the Buttons tab in Companion. So this is my main menu page, which allows me to navigate to all of my pages like my ATEM control or my camera control. So on the right side, I'm going to go to the Pages tab, and you can see my ATEM control page is on page number 3. I'm going to go ahead and select Add Page Above. So I'll make a new page. We're going to call this ATEM 2, ATEM Control 2. That way I have a new page that I can go ahead and start working on for the purposes of this demo. So we're going to go over to the ATEM Control 2 page. So these 32 buttons on this page are primarily where we're going to control the switcher from. I'd recommend having one StreamDeck XL for every one ME that you intend to control. So if your switcher has multiple MEs, like the Constellation series, you could switch cameras separately for your live stream or your in-person iMag or image magnification. If you want to put wide shots on the live stream and you want to put tight shots on the in-person iMag, you could do that by having separate MEs. You would have separate multi-views, separate MEs going to your output. Check out my other video where I look at creating a menu system for StreamDeck. This is very similar to what I showed you when we were on the menu page, and then you click this button to go to the ATEM control page, which is page number 3, and now you can control your ATEM, or you can go to the camera control page on page number 2 to control your PTZ camera. The first thing I want to do on this new page that I just created is set up some preview and program buttons for each camera. I'll do a preview on the bottom row and then program on the second row up. This is basically how the ATEM control surface, the ATEM advanced panel, are laid out. So I'm going to click on a blank spot here and I'm going to go to the right and create button. Now under press actions, I'm going to go ahead and click the red folder. We're going to go to ATEM. And now I'm going to go down to ME set preview input. And I'm going to hit done. And I'm going to delete these buttons here. Okay, so there's our preview input from ME1 on input 1. Perfect. Now we can go to the next button up, create a new button, go to ATEM, go down to ME set program input. Cool, so now we click the bottom one, it's going to put camera 1 in preview. Click the top one, it's going to put camera 1 in program. Now we can also give them a name, just type in 1. Okay, now I'm going to copy and paste this button by Command C and Command V. If copy and paste isn't working on your companion setup, go ahead down here below the layout and click copy, and then click on the button and then click on the button again. So click the copy button, click the button you want to copy, and then click the destination where you want to paste it to. And then the same thing for the other section. So now we can go ahead and change the labels to 2 through 8. If you do have more than 8 cameras, then you should use a second StreamDeck, or you could use one StreamDeck for 16 cameras by putting 1 through 8 on the top and 9 through 16 on the bottom. So preview program for the 16 cameras. Additional things we need to add to this page are upstream key, so we can set our key on and off air, our media triggers, internal media being triggered and presented from inside of the ATEM switcher, auxiliary output set changes, so we can change the output that's being sent to different destinations from the control surface, fade to black buttons, auto transition to black for our entire program output, macros, continue, loop, run, stop, and transitions, cut or auto fade. So if you don't have 8 cameras, what you could do on the right side here is turn this into cut and auto, and then we could create a new button up top that says fade to black. So now under press actions, I'm going to go to my red folder here again, go to ATEM, and you can actually search. So if we search fade to black, go down to ATEM, fade to black change rate, or fade to black auto run auto transition. Let's do that one. And that should be able to fade our program to black. Now let's go to auto, delete the set input change. Let's go to this, and we're going to type in auto for auto transition. There we go, ME perform auto transition. And then on the next one down, we're going to delete this again, and we're going to do cut. So it would be like perform cut transition. ATEM perform cut transition. So now we can click on our camera 1, for example, and then we can cut or auto transition that camera into program. And we can also fade to black our program output. There are so many functions that can be controlled on the ATEM switchers from Companion. I'm actually thinking about doing a video that shows me going through everything that can be controlled on the ATEM switchers from Companion. So subscribe if you want to see that video. I'm going to go up to the top here. I'm going to create another button, and I'm going to go back to the ATEM, and I'm going to go down to upstream key, and I'm going to set it to type on air. So done. Now basically we're going to be able to toggle ME1 key 1 on and off with this button. This is basically how we're going to turn our lyric, our lower third lyrics graphics coming from ProPresenter on and off. So that's super helpful. I think that's pretty much everything. I'm going to add one more button, which is just a media button. Let's go down to ATEM, media, set source. And then let's actually do one more thing. So let's set source to still number 2. And then we're going to add a stack of actions here. So media, ATEM, no, not media. We're going to do ME, set program input, and we're going to pull from media player 1. So we're going to set still number 2 to media player 1, and then we're going to set media player 1 to program of our ME1. We could also do a preview if we want to build a preview and then cut this live. That might be a good idea. So let's change this to ATEM. Let's go down to ME set preview input. Done. And then we'll delete program input. So now we'll go down to media player 1. Okay, so now when we push this button, it's going to put still 2 into media player 1, and then it's going to cut media player 1 to preview on ME1. So now it'll put the graphic in the media player, and then it'll put the graphic in the preview window, and then we can just cut to the next thing. And there's still more room in here if you want to add more cameras. So we definitely are not out of space, but if you want to add another control surface, it could make it easier. The next thing I want to do is use some internal variables to display information on this page. If we go to variables in the left side and we go to ATEM, you can see all of the information that can be utilized as variables inside of Companion. aux1 input, label of input active on aux output 1. There we go, IP address of ATEM. We can literally display the ATEM's IP address on a button. Let's find something that would be really useful to have on a button. Name of macro 1. So we could have a macro set up and then we could display the name of that macro on the button. There's a lot of macros in here. Label of input in multi-viewer 1, window 1. And then this is literally there for all of them. So label and ID, we can specify the label and the ID of the input in multi-view 1, window 2, window 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can set the name of the still images that are in the media player in the ATEM switcher, and then display that on a button so you know exactly what you're pushing. This means I can use variables to set the name of the StreamDeck buttons. Instead of manually setting the name in Companion, I can get the user-defined label from the ATEM and display the name of each button. To use a variable, go to any button name, type $, open bracket, then ATEM, and you'll see a list of variables you can choose from. Click on it and the data will be displayed. I'm gonna go back to the buttons page, and the next thing I wanna do is use feedbacks to display some useful information. If you are not familiar with feedbacks, your mind is about to be blown. So let's go ahead and click on program button 1, and we're gonna go to the feedbacks page, and I'm gonna go to the right, go to ATEM, and these are all the things that we can change the color of the button based on the information. The feedback we want is 1 ME program source. This feedback will become active whenever camera 1 is detected in program on ME1. Whether camera 1 is put into program from a physical button on the switcher itself or from Companion with a StreamDeck, the feedback keeps an eye open, and whenever camera 1 is in program, at that point the feedback will become active and the following will happen. I'm not connected to the ATEM, so toggling invert flips the state and shows us what will happen to the button when the feedback becomes active. So I've added this feedback, and this feedback is going to come into play when this button is triggered. So when someone pushes camera 1, the feedback is going to say, okay, ME1, input 1 is set to live. So when camera 1 is live, it's going to basically do this. So I'm going to change it to red. And then, yeah, the text is set to white, so that's good. So I inverted it, but basically turned it on. So this is what it's going to look like when camera 1 is in program, and this is what it's going to look like any other time when camera 1 is not in program. So for preview, let's go ahead and do the exact same thing, and we can grab the one that we just used, but it's the wrong one. So I'll delete it, and then I'll go to ATEM, go down to ME1 preview source, and now I can go ahead and I want to set the text color to white, and then green is fine. Yeah, that'll be good. So it'll look like that when it's not in program, and when it's selected and in program, it'll look like that. So let's go up to key, let's do feedback. We're gonna go to ATEM, we're gonna go to upstream key, on air state. So when key 1 is on air, it's gonna do this. So red is good, white is good. Okay, I'll turn that back off because it's not currently on air, so it doesn't work. Okay, so let's say that fade to black, when we are currently fading to black, we would like the button to change colors. So let's see if there's a fade to black. Fade to black, rate active. Let's go ahead and do that. So when the state is on, or when it's fading, yeah, let's do when it's on, then it will change the color to red. That way we just know visually, hey, we are currently faded to black. That's why there's nothing on our output. I've been there, I've done that. So let's do a cut feedback, ATEM. So when we are currently, let's see how to do this. Let's grab an internal one. When button pushed, let's try that. So when this button is pushed, it will turn red. Yeah, that could be good. We'll do the same thing for this one. When button is pushed, it will turn red. It'd be nice if it could fade out over like 10 seconds, but I'm not going to be picky. Okay, so I think that's a bunch of feedbacks we've added to these buttons. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all of these and copy and paste these, recopy and paste these buttons. That way I don't have to go in here and manually add this feedback to every single one, but you could do it. It wouldn't take very long. The one other thing I want to point out in this is that let's go ahead and delete button 7, because I want to try to create another page that allows me to shift click these buttons. One cool thing that the ATEM advanced panels can do is there's a shift button. You would basically push this button and then it would give you cameras 8 through 13. What we could do in Companion is create another page. So let's do ATEM control 3 and add that. So now let's go over to ATEM control 3. I'll delete this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and copy this to here. Let's do 7. Go ahead and copy this. And now the one last thing I want to bring over here is this. Let's call this shift. We'll bring the size down a little bit. Command C. I'm just going to paste that on both of these. This is going to be page, set to page, and then we're going to do page, toggle between page 5 and page 4. This one's going to go to page 5. And then this one is going to go to set to page 4. Okay, so now if we click on either of these, it's going to take us to page 4. And if we click on either of these, it's going to take us to page 5. So page 5 is going to have these cameras on it, and page 4 will have these cameras on it. So if you click shift, you don't have to hold it, you're just going to click it, but clicking to it and then clicking back is going to bring you between these two pages. So that could be super helpful. You could also put your cut and fade, and you could just copy and paste those things over in order to get all of that functionality on this other page. I'm going to include a link to some downloadable resources in the description. The Companion ATEM config file that I've built, and a pack of icons for ATEM functions on the StreamDeck. The template can be installed by going to Companion Import, click Import Configuration, upload the Companion config file, and select a blank page to override with this template page. It even asks you what connections you want to link to the actions on the buttons. That is how you turn a $210 Stream Deck into a powerful ATEM control surface, saving you thousands of dollars while getting the job done. Thank you for watching this video. Check out my resources at crazyamazingdesigns.com. As well, if you're interested, sign up for a Zoom training session where I can help you walk through topics like this, live streaming or building a streaming setup, but also Pro Presenter. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.